Did you know that a seemingly ordinary Christmas Eve walk would become the starting point of one of America's most captivating murder mysteries? In Modesto, California, Laci Peterson, a beautiful 27-year-old pregnant woman, vanished without a trace. It was a quiet, chilly evening and the festive spirit was in the air. Laci, who was 8 months pregnant, had been eagerly preparing for the arrival of her first child, a son she and her husband Scott planned to name Connor. Her husband Scott reported her missing, setting off a frantic search that would grip the nation for months to come. The community rallied together, forming search parties and holding vigils, hoping to find any clue that could lead to Laci's whereabouts. Laci was 8 months pregnant, preparing to welcome their first child, a son they planned to name Connor. She had been shopping for baby items, decorating the nursery, and attending baby showers, all while radiating the joy and anticipation of becoming a mother. Her sudden disappearance sent shockwaves through the community and beyond, leaving everyone wondering about the fate of the young mother-to-be. The local news stations covered the story extensively, and soon the entire nation was captivated by the mystery. The Petersons were seemingly a happy couple, living a comfortable life in their suburban home. They had a picturesque life that many envied, filled with love, laughter, and the promise of a bright future. Laci was a substitute teacher, loved by her students, while Scott worked as a fertilizer salesman. They were both well-liked in their community, and their friends and family couldn't believe that something so tragic could happen to such a wonderful couple. They were excited to become parents, their joy evident in the baby shower photos shared with friends and family. Laci's friends described her as glowing with happiness, eagerly anticipating the arrival of baby Connor. As the days turned into weeks, the mystery surrounding Laci's disappearance only deepened. Investigators worked tirelessly, following every lead and examining every clue, but the answers remained elusive. The nation held its breath, hoping for her safe return, but the chilling truth was far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. As the investigation progressed, dark secrets began to surface, and the once idyllic image of the Peterson family started to crumble. The case took a dramatic turn when it was revealed that Scott had been having an affair, casting suspicion on him and adding a new layer of complexity to the investigation. The search for Laci continued, with police divers scouring nearby bodies of water and forensic teams meticulously examining evidence. The media frenzy intensified and the courtroom became a battleground as the prosecution and defense presented their cases. Emotional family members filled the courtroom, their faces etched with grief and determination. Public protests erupted, with people demanding justice for Laci and her unborn son. News reporters camped outside the courthouse, providing live updates on the trial's progress. After months of deliberation, the jury reached a verdict. The judge read the decision aloud, and Scott Peterson was found guilty of the murder of his wife, Laci, and their unborn son, Connor. The case had come to a close, but the impact of Laci's disappearance and the subsequent trial would be felt for years to come. In the aftermath, the community came together to honor Laci and Connor's memory. Memorials were held and candlelight vigils illuminated the night, a testament to the love and support that had surrounded Laci throughout her life. Though the mystery had been solved, the loss of Laci and Connor left a void that could never be filled. As the sun set over Modesto, California, the town slowly began to heal. The story of Laci Peterson's disappearance and the subsequent trial served as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of community. It was a Christmas Eve that would never be forgotten, a haunting tale of love, loss, and the search for justice. The Modesto Police Department launched a full-scale investigation determined to bring Laci home. Officers worked around the clock, coordinating efforts and following every lead, no matter how small. The community was on high alert, and the sense of urgency was palpable. Volunteers joined the search parties, combing through fields, parks, and waterways. Friends, family, and even strangers came together, united by a common goal. They searched tirelessly, hoping to find any sign of Laci. The sheer number of people involved was a testament to the impact Laci had on those around her. The media descended upon the town, broadcasting Laci's story across the airwaves. News reporters from various networks set up camp, their vans with satellite dishes lining the streets. The story quickly gained national attention, and the pressure on the police to solve the case intensified. Every new development was reported, keeping the public on edge. Every detail, every clue was scrutinized, hoping for a break in the case. Detectives meticulously examined evidence, from physical items found at the scene to digital footprints. They analyzed phone records, interviewed witnesses, and pieced together timelines. The investigation was thorough, leaving no stone unturned. Scott Peterson, as the husband of the missing woman, became a person of interest. His behavior was closely monitored, and he was questioned multiple times. The community watched him closely, and opinions were divided. Some believed in his innocence, while others were suspicious of his actions. He participated in interviews, appearing distraught and pleading for Laci's safe return. His emotional pleas were broadcasted widely, and he became a familiar face on the news. Despite his public displays of grief, some found his demeanor unsettling, adding to the growing suspicion. However, investigators began to notice inconsistencies in his story and behavior that raised red flags. They compared his statements with evidence and witness accounts, finding discrepancies that couldn't be ignored. The investigation took a new direction, focusing more intently on Scott as they sought to uncover the truth behind Laci's disappearance. As the investigation progressed, Scott Peterson's demeanor began to raise eyebrows. His behavior was scrutinized by both the public and the authorities, who were desperate for any clue that could lead them to the truth. His calm and collected exterior seemed at odds with the gravity of his wife's disappearance. While others were frantic and emotional, Scott maintained an eerie sense of composure that many found unsettling. This stark contrast made people question whether he was hiding something. Furthermore, investigators discovered that Scott had been leading a double life. This revelation came as a shock to everyone who thought they knew him. The facade he had carefully constructed began to crumble as more details emerged. He had engaged in an extramarital affair with a woman named Amber Frey, who came forward to the police. Amber revealed that Scott had deceived her, claiming he was single and grieving the loss of his wife. Her testimony was a turning point in the investigation. Scott had told Amber that he was single and grieving the loss of his wife, a cruel lie that shattered his image as a grieving husband. This deceit not only hurt Amber, but also cast a dark shadow over Scott's character, making it difficult for anyone to trust him. This revelation, coupled with his inconsistent statements, placed Scott firmly at the center of the investigation. The police began to piece together a timeline of events, scrutinizing every detail of Scott's actions and statements. The media frenzy surrounding the case only intensified, with every new piece of information adding fuel to the fire. As the pressure mounted, Scott's once calm demeanor began to crack, revealing a man who was increasingly desperate to maintain his innocence. With Scott Peterson now the prime suspect, investigators meticulously pieced together the events leading up to Laci's disappearance. They uncovered evidence that Scott had purchased a fishing boat shortly before Laci vanished, despite claiming he had never been fishing in the San Francisco Bay. His cell phone records showed suspicious activity, placing him near the Bay Area on the day Laci disappeared. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to fit together, painting a grim picture of Scott's involvement. Months later, the tragic news broke that shattered any remaining hope. The decomposed bodies of Laci Peterson and her unborn son, Connor, were found washed ashore in the San Francisco Bay, not far from where Scott claimed to have been fishing. The discovery sent shockwaves through the nation, confirming the worst fears. Laci and Connor were gone, victims of a horrific crime. The evidence against Scott Peterson was mounting, and the prosecution was preparing to present its case in court. Section 6, the trial and verdict. The trial of Scott Peterson became a media sensation, captivating the nation's attention. Prosecutors argued that Scott, motivated by his affair and the impending responsibilities of fatherhood, murdered his pregnant wife and disposed of her body in the bay. The defense maintained Scott's innocence, suggesting that Laci had been abducted by strangers. The jury, however, found the prosecution's case compelling. The evidence, including Scott's lies, his suspicious behavior, and the location of the bodies, pointed overwhelmingly to his guilt. Section 7, justice but no closure. In 2004, Scott Peterson was found guilty of first-degree murder for the death of Laci and second-degree murder for the death of Connor. He was sentenced to death by lethal injection. The verdict brought a sense of justice for Laci, Connor, and their grieving families, but it did little to ease the pain of their loss. The case left an indelible mark on the nation's psyche, a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives. Section 8. The Aftermath and Legacy. The Laci Peterson case continues to fascinate and horrify people worldwide. It sparked national conversations about domestic violence, infidelity, and the justice system. Books, documentaries, and television specials continue to explore the case, seeking to understand the motivations behind this heinous crime. Laci's story serves as a reminder of the importance of recognizing red flags in relationships and the devastating consequences of domestic violence. Section 9. Join the conversation. What are your thoughts on the Laci Peterson case? Share your insights and join the discussion in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more captivating true crime stories and analysis. Like and share this video to keep the conversation going and help us shed light on important cases like this one.